Estate management is the direction and supervision of interest that subsist in land and landed properties. And what you are paying for is the interest you have in that property. That is for the kind of expertise, for the kind of skill that is required for this profession. You can't just reduce me to a caretaker, to an agent. Not, he has an idea. I'm supposed to bring it to life based on my professional background. So that shows to tell you that it is our right to own a portion of the earth. It is our right. Investment is denying yourself of immediate enjoyment just for a future benefit. If you really want to enjoy this life, it is at your retirement. Even when we talk about real estate, it goes beyond just property. The infrastructures you see, the roads you see, they fall under real estate. When you have more infrastructural development in that place, the price goes up, the value goes up. So it's just to stay focused, determined, and dedicated. It takes a whole lot in this our profession to get registered, to be certified. And I've tried going back again. What do I really want? So I just made up my mind, whatever it takes, I want to stand up for myself and I want to do my own. So it was that.
Lapo kid, Nepo kid.
I will want to skip that.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from or whatever device you're watching us from. My name is Annabelle Oji and I will be your co-host for today's program. This is Real Estate Conclave, and it is a program where a platform where we explore the depth, the dynamics, and the future of real estate. On today's program, we'll be looking far more than real estate, rent. We're looking at policies and everything that concerns real estate. And today, my guest on the show is ESV, that's Estate Surveyor and Valuer Sam Adejumo, who is Head of Practice, Realty Corridor, Abuja, Nigeria. Great to have you, Sam.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really happy to be here, at least to see you once again.
I know, right?
yeah, thanks for having me.
And in case you don't know, he's actually going to, he's the host, I'm the co-host, so you always be saying both of us. Okay, yeah. Don't worry, I'm sure they will understand it.
Yeah.
All right, great to have you on the show today.
You.
All right, let's start from the very beginning. Let's look at the foundation. Kindly walk us through your early life, from your educational life straight to how exactly you came about being an estate surveyor and valuer.
Okay, thanks for that. Yeah, I'm still a young guy, or a young man, still, so to speak anyway. Yeah, I'm still a young man. Born in the 80s, and I was born in Lagos, but my parents were from Ibadan, that's in Oyo State. So my primary school, I schooled in, because my dad is a clergyman, so he always goes on transfer. So anywhere he's being transferred to, we have to move, as a family. So I started when I was in Shagamu, Ogun State. So I couldn't finish my primary education. We had to move to, it was transferred to Delta State. We have to move as a family. So that's to change my school. Then I continued in Delta State. So I finished my primary school. Then it was transferred again. So that was why my mom was now of the opinion that this transfer of 18, that's our dad's occupation. So why not let us have a place where the kids will be permanently, so that it doesn't affect their education. And in fact, I'm even the youngest of 4 guys. So instead of having to move, change them and all of that, because the same way they are changing me, they are changing my older brothers as well. So we now had to move back to Shagamu in Ogun State, since we've been there for years. So just we, the kids, we are there. So they had to put us in school. So that was where I started my secondary school, which is the popular Remo Secondary School, RSS. That's the same school at Dewala Ayuba, the popular musician.
Ooh, so you're classmates with him.
Yeah,
Okay.
we attended the same school. But of course, they are way seniors. Yeah. So, and the school is one of their union groups and all of that. So, Remo Secondary School. Then again, because after I finished the first 3 years, that's the junior secondary school, my dad was transferred again. You know, we were alone with my older brothers in Shagamu. So he was transferred again to Ondo State. So, and the older ones, they're already in institutions, higher institution. So, but me, I'm still, so my mom was like, okay, since it's just our last born, okay, let's just bring him to Ondo instead of, because I can't stay by myself over there since my older brothers, they're already in higher institution. So they had to change me again. So then I attended Ondo Boys High School. It's one of the popular schools too back then. So I had to do my senior secondary school there, and I finished from there. So trying to get to the higher institution, it took a lot. It took me like 6 years, and not as if back then it's not as easy like now that you can finish your secondary school today and the next year you're in school. It usually takes a lot because result and all of that. So, but not as if I didn't have result.
Does not even jam you.
Yeah, and all of that. And at a point they now came up with post jam again. So even if you have jam, you have to because I was still searching for admission when they started the post jam too. So I already had result because when I was in SS2, I already did. There's one they call GC back then. I already did that, so I could not make everything. But when I did my SSE in the SS3, so I was able to use that 2 exams at least to get admission. But one thing or the other, the admission didn't come through for 6 years. So, and I play instruments, I play keyboard. So there's a function in Edo State. So someone invited me over that they have an event, they want me to come and play. It's actually a church program. So I went there and we were there from Friday. So leaving on Monday, I was paid anyway because those things, I don't do them for free. Yeah. So when I was leaving, so the pastor now told me that he likes my aura, he likes the way I play my instrument and all of that. What am I doing at the moment? I said, well, I'm just a young guy searching for admission. So he told me, there's this Federal Polytechnic just 30 minutes away from me that he has influenced. That do I have I written my exam and I have everything? I said, yes, result is not a problem, just to go get the admission. I don't know what has been wrong. And I said, yeah, he has influence, he has people he can call. And as long as I have result, I'm going to get admission. I will say, sir, are you serious? Say, yeah. I want you to stay with us. So if you know admission is a problem, I can. So I said, sir, please go ahead. Right there, he just pulled the call through. And the man he called happens to be the chief librarian. So he told him, I have a guy, this admission. The man said, no problem. They should send me over to his office. Right there, I went to the man's office. I presented my result and all of that. So he now told me, okay, he has 2 options if I want to do part-time. And then I just want to be in school. Because back then, when you finish, you have your friends that they finish. This one tells you, I'm not in OAU, I'm in UI. You feel,
I know,
you feel,
right?
Yeah. You feel so. You just want to be in just one school, just in any school. So the man said, okay, 2 options, probably part-time, or if I want to do a full-time, since I'm not doing JAMB, it's going to be like a pre-ND program. So after that 1 year, I'm going to be part of the morning student. But if I want to do part-time, it's going to be 3 years and it's evening studies. Why will I be doing evening studies? I will go for the morning one. So I said, okay. So the courses, because it's pre-ND, so you don't have all the regular courses, maybe biz admin, accounting, you don't have them in pre-ND. So they have few courses in pre-ND. So I said, and I am a commercial student. So I said, the only thing that is related, not perfectly related, is estate management. In my whole life, I've never heard of such course. He said estate management. But because I just want to, I was like, but sir, it has management now, because that was what I asked him. He said, yes, it has management, but it's like a social science course. I said, sir, as long as it has management, please, let's go for it. He said, okay, no problem. So that was They have to bring the form for me. I filled and all of that. So I think the exam, we're supposed to write an exam. So I think like a month or two later, I came back for the exam. And afterwards, they pasted the list like they used to do. So my name came out. So that was how I resumed estate management. So resuming, because it was pre-ND, and now discover we started doing physics, and I was a commercial student, started doing physics, chemistry, technical drawing. In fact, I did further maths, calculus precisely, you know.
And you were not expecting those to be among the courses you would do, right?
Yeah, because I'm a commercial student, so I'm used to, we do economics, commerce, government, yeah, so I'm used to that. So, but because I'm just happy to be in school, I just, okay, what's the way forward? I can't say because of chemistry or physics, I want to go back home, no. So I also, whatever it takes, I just need to be in it. So they are now saying when we get to the normal ND program, so then we will now be restricted to things that is related to the course itself, because it's just pre-ND program. So that's why we have to do that. So I was like, since it's just 1 year, I will cope. And I was able to, you know, grind on it, and I was able to scale through. So before we now entered the estate management properly. So it was when I now got to ND and I understand the concept of estate management. So I now discovered that it wasn't even far away from what I have always wanted. So if I was discouraged because of the fact it was a social science course, or maybe because of physics, chemistry,
where you're coming from as commercial student.
Yeah, if I was discouraged, maybe I would have lost out on that opportunity. But it was when I started the ND program, I just, yeah, this is not far from what I wanted. So I got to estate management by chance. I didn't even know, but at least at the long run, I understood what it was about. And since then, it has really been, I never regretted. I just believe God has orchestrated it, that is the way is you're going to happen. So that was how I found myself in estate management, and we graduated, and I served in as a matter of fact, I graduated with distinction, and so I served in Kano. Then from Kano, I would have stayed back in Kano because of the real estate business. Kano was not doing badly then anyway, but then they were having the issue of bomb blasts. That was in 2015. So security wise, so that was why I chose to come to Abuja. If not for that, I would have been in Kano.
So Kano is like a hub for real estate?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's doing pretty well. It's doing pretty well. So I just said, okay, let me come to Abuja. I've never been to Abuja in my whole life, so I always try to, you know, get results on my own. That's just the way I want to do things. So I just started within myself, okay, so what's the next place I can go? I don't want to go to Lagos. Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja are the options. Lagos, I have my older brother. Port Harcourt, I have another of my older brother. I don't want to have that familiarity of, oh, my brother is there, he can help me with this. No, I just want to achieve things on my own. So that was why I chose Abuja. So I now moved to Abuja in 2016, and as God we have it, even before I finished serving in Kano. Though the company wanted to retain me, but I didn't want to. Before I finished service, it was like a month to go, I already got a job in Abuja. So after the POP, in fact, before the POP, I have even resumed in Abuja, because at least before POP, you have like 1 month holiday. So I already resumed them in Abuja. So when it was POP, I had to travel back to Kano. So I was even going to Kano as a big boy, say, God don't bless this one, you don't even get work, you know, that kind of stuff. So, and after the POP, I came back to Abuja. So I was under a firm then. So I did all that, and at least today, we've been able to pull out and, you know, start our own business by the grace of God.
Okay, so before we go into the next question, 3 questions, I'd like you to put them together. One is just kind of outside what we're discussing. One of them is, would you actually say that, would you return back to say that that person that helped you remove you from that mindset of it has to be commercial? So if I'm writing my success story, it means I have to return back to that person. I must call that person's name in this. That's one. Yeah. Secondly, with what you've explained here, do you see yourself as a Lapo kid or a Nepo kid?
Okay. The first one, yeah, I've never ceased to appreciate the man, because I think God just used him for me. Unfortunately, he is late now. So, but I made sure, well, I was around then, so I made sure I attended his funeral. We did it in Lagos, so I had to travel all over and at least pay my last respect. In fact, I did for a lot of young guys, not just me alone. The man has just been, because he has kids too. And I remember Daddy will always say then that he doesn't have the opportunity to be schooled. So he wants to make sure that every of his kids, maybe directly or indirectly, or any that is just within me, that education that they must have. Even back then when I was in school, he do even give me money, even when it's not my dad, you know, and all of that. So the man has always been like that. So, and I appreciate and I pray that God rest his soul wherever he is now.
Amen. Lapo kid, Nepo kid.
I will want to skip that. I want to skip that. Yeah.
All right. Then let's go straight to other with around your profession, to just understanding your profession as a real estate valuer and surveyor. And for many people, the role of an estate surveyor or surveyor and valuer is still not fully understood. Could you kindly help us demystify what exactly is it about?
Okay, yeah. So estate management, you know, we have a couple of definitions, but the one that has been generally adopted was given by Tom Croft in 1965. He says that estate management is the direction and supervision of interest that subsist in land and landed properties. When we say land and landed properties, we are talking about the entirety of real estate. So he is now saying you have an interest, that's why you want to own property. And what you are paying for is the interest you have in that property. That is why you see that if a property is, let's say, 100 million and another is, let's say, 80 million. But if your interest lie in the one for 100 million, even if you don't have that money, you might find a way to negotiate. Okay, can I pay this deposit? Oh, can you give me XYZ number of months to work? Even when you know that you don't have that money, even if it's way over your budget. But because your interest is in that property, you will be able to do everything possible to. So which means any property you are paying for is the interest. That's what you are paying for. So that's why the man said is interest that subsists in land and landed property. Then again now say is the direction and supervision. So what it means is that it goes beyond having interest in property. Okay. It needs to be directed and it needs to be supervised. That is, if I am the investor now, I call on the professional, okay, this is what I need. I give them the idea, this. Okay, this is what I want to do, this. I'm giving directive to the professional. So the professional, because it's his own field, he will now supervise. He already knows my intent. So he will now supervise to make sure that my expectation for, you know, investing in that land and landed property, that I get the desired result at the end of the day. So that's where the direction is coming from, and the supervision is coming from the professional. So that's why it's the most comprehensive definition. That is why they've adopted it, because he has been able to tell us that it's direction and supervision of the interest that subsists in land and landed property. So that's for estate management. So regards to what we do exactly, you know, and as part of the reason why I've decided to, you know, to put this podcast together, because we're going to be talking about a few things that people, you know, misconstrue. You see what I mean? So they usually mistake us for probably agents. There's this other caretaker. Yeah.
Developer.
Yeah, I'm coming to that aspect. We do property development as well.
Okay.
Yeah, it's part of what we do. So, but the most one I have issues with is that word caretaker is an agent. In fact, I was with one of my bosses. We even talked in that direction, that for the kind of expertise, for the kind of skill that is required for this profession, you can't just reduce me to a caretaker, to an agent. Not disrespect to them, honestly. Yes, it's a wonderful job as well, but for the level of skill we have to put together to achieve being an estate surveyor and valuer, it goes beyond just being a caretaker. So what we do is we do letting Letting, that is renting out properties, be it residential or commercial property. We call it letting. So that's the one people see as a caretaker, agents.
Okay, so that's the job of a caretaker.
There are people that do it without the qualification. The reason is this. Anybody, in fact, one Baba Ejebu can just start in front of his house, say he's a caretaker, he's an agent. If he has the information that, oh, there's a 3-bedroom apartment that is available.
That is open.
Yeah, and somebody says, oh, I need an apartment in this neighborhood. Oh, there's the apartment there. Oh, okay, the person is paying for it. So if you want to tell someone, he will tell you that I'm an agent. But are you qualified for it? Are you certified for it? No. So that's the difference between us.
So help me understand. That means an agent is more like the middleman between who is looking for the house
and the owner of the house.
Okay.
Yes, that's the middleman. So, but the ones we have on the streets, they don't really have the educational background. That's the difference between us. So they are not certified. Anybody can just, as long as you are privileged to have the information. That's what I'm saying. So irrespective of whether you are qualified or certified or not. But we as an estate surveyor and valuer, of course, you must have gone through the educational background. You have the formal education. You do all the theory in school, and when you come to the field, you start doing the practical. So we do that letting aspect professionally. So we do property letting, we do property sales. Yeah, when you want property exchange in the property market, then we do property management. The management is different from letting. Letting is just that you have information, you have somebody that is looking for property and there's an available place, you put them in. Letting stops there. But the management is making sure that afterwards the person has moved in, is the person getting the satisfaction of what he or she has paid for. Is there any maintenance that needs to be carried out in the property?
So I don't necessarily have to go to the owner of the house. Like I should come to you.
Yes,
as
yes.
the tenant or the person occupying the house.
No, you need to come to the property manager.
Okay. Okay.
The tenant needs to speak to the property manager
and not the owner.
No.
And that's where you bring, that's your service. That's one of the services you provide.
That's what we do. So just like middleman, when you were trying to look for the property, there's another middleman between the tenant and the landlord. Ideal, because some landlords, they want to be discreet. They don't even want you to know them. And sometimes they don't even want those, they don't like that familiarity between them and the tenant. So that's why they always want a middleman. So that is the property management. So, and there's something we call routine inspection, whereby you have to, keep checking on the property at regular intervals to make sure the property is still intact and all of that, and you report back to the landlord. And when it's time for, probably you need to review the rent. So it's not hearsay. You need to look at, there are some indices that we need to put into consideration from the virtue of the training we've had. So we are going to advise if it's time for rental increments. So that falls under property management. And then when the person wants to renew, you make sure you get the rent as at when due. So all that falls under property management. So it's possible someone else did the letting while I manage the property. There are two different things. And it's possible I do both. There are some property that I only do the management, but there are some properties that the landlord says, oh, I don't mind you doing the letting and manage, but there are two different things. Then we do property development as well. So because there's something we call the professionals in the built environment. That's where you have the architecture, architecture guy, you have the quantity surveyor, you have the urban and regional planning, you have the estate surveyor and valuer. We used to be 6. I think the other 2 skipped me. So those are the guys in the professionals in the built environment. So the property development we do is that, of course, since it's a team, we have people that are specialized, in putting bricks together and all of that. But we have the knowledge to supervise. Supervise in the sense that we know the intent of the owner. We know what he wants to achieve at the end of the day. So we make sure that all those things, they are coordinated so that we get, let's say it's a commercial property. We need to look at how best can we put this property into use so that when we are finished with the development, in no time, people want to take everything. So we look at those indices. So that is where we come in as a property developer. We can direct in that aspect too.
Okay.
So we do facility management too. Facility management is different from property management. So facility management means there are some properties that we service, like water, like in Abuja. Some places they use water board. So that falls under service. So when you have probably security, central security, that falls under services. When you have cleaning, it falls under services. Then waste bin collection and all of that, other falls under service. So if you are doing facility management, you make sure the cleaner comes as at when due and do their job. Security is always there. Make sure security guys are always there. Make sure water board, when they bring their bill, it's being paid and people get steady water supply. And if it's property that they are running generator for all the properties, you need to make sure that one of the security is trained on putting it on. You need to get diesel, people to supply diesel to put, so when the light power goes off, they put on the gen. So that's facility management. So it is possible sometimes you might have someone different doing the property management, and you have another person doing facility management. And you can do both, but they are different because what falls under them are different. So they are different aspects. So some properties we do both, and some we have different persons doing that. So that's the facility. Then feasibility and viability studies, what does do is that it's like a way of doing appraisal. If I'm meeting my client, say, I have this idea, this is what I want to go into. The feasibility is what is the possibility of that idea that he has. Because part of my job is to, he has an idea. I'm supposed to bring it to life based on my professional background. So I'm looking at the possibility, that's the feasibility. That thing is saying, is it possible, or is there a way we can tweak it to make it possible? Then we'll now look at the viability side. That means the practicability. When you have to bring it to life, look at it physically, is it possible? So those are the two. So it's just like doing appraisal to see that if what that man intends to do, if it's possible and if it's practical. So that's the feasibility and viability studies. Then we do property rating as well. Unfortunately, I think Nigeria as a whole, we've not really been doing that efficiently. There's property tax. So how that is supposed to be paid to the government. So government cannot just wake overnight and just say, you're going to pay XYZ amount for property tax. So what they do is they engage estate surveyors and valuer to get the value of that property. So the value of that property, they now take a percent of the value of that property to not charge property tax. So there's no way government will know the value of a property. It is estate surveyor and valuer that will give them. So that's the property rating aspect. Then again, we do property valuation. In fact, that's the core aspect of our job, because for you to do valuation, you need to be certified. We have a regulatory body called the SVAB. We have an association, Nigeria Institution of Estate Surveyors and Valuer. That's the association, which I am a member. Then outside that, we have a regulatory body that oversees the activities of, we call it NAIFs. So that's the SVAB. So the SVAB, they give you stamp and seal. That stamp and seal means that when you do a valuation job, you have to put your stamp and seal so that you can present it in a court of law, which means it is legally binding as long as that stamp and seal. It is legal, so it can be presented in a court of law, and if there's any reason to ask questions, they can come back to you and ask you questions since your stamp and seal. So because of the nature of that, that is why it needs to be regulated. So it is that body, that certifies them. So that's the valuation aspect. You need to value property. For them, several reasons you might want to do valuation, probably to just know your worth. It's not just to say, I'm a big man. Yeah, you're a big man. What's the worth of your property? So when you have the valuation of your property, then you can now say, am I a big man or not? Then you can still look at, probably for insurance purpose, I want to insure my property. they are going to charge a percent. So what's the value of the property? That's what we help them to, charge a percent. So for insurance purpose, you can still do valuation. And for maybe you want to sell your property too, you are looking at what's the best value I can get. So we can also value the property and let you know. And if you want to probably get mortgage with your property, we need to value the property. So it is based on that value that the bank is going to say, okay, this is how much we can advance you based on the worth of your property. And if you want to still travel abroad too, I think there are some embassies too that ask for your, property value, just to know how connected you are to your home country, just to give them a reason that yes.
So all of this are the reason why it's actually important or critical to maintain or to value your property.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what I'm just highlighting, that the reasons why people do valuation. Okay. So, and I think that's part of, and if you want to, yes, I've mentioned if you want to sell your property, yeah. So that's part of the reason why you do.
How about the lawyers? Where do they come in all of this?
The lawyers, over time, people have misconstrued the whole thing. Estate management, there's a legal department.
Okay.
So the legal department is just drafting tenancy agreements, because it is an agreement between the landlord and the tenant. So what we do is, it's a lawyer that prepares the agreement. Reason is that, so if there's any default, we can go to the court. If I draft an agreement, it might not be as binding as it will come from a lawyer, because that's their own field. They know what to put together to make sure that it is binding. Yeah, so that's where they come in, to draft the agreement. And if there's any default or breach in contract, they know how they can follow up the case in the court of law. Or if you are selling or you are buying a property, there's something we call a deed of assignment. So it's also a document that needs to be signed too. So the lawyers will always bring them into that. Okay, since that's your field, okay, you can get us an agreement that is binding. So that's where they come in. Okay,
so it is actually not their job to throw people out of the house. Is that your job or theirs?
Yeah, it is the court that will give that verdict. So it is until when the court says, okay, you can evict this person. So it's the court that will pronounce that. And when the court says that, it is the court's bailiff that they will send to come and do that. But they, of course, they will participate in, you have to go for mentioning in the court. You have to, their process is anyway. So a lawyer too still needs to stand in. I've had a couple of them like that for the fact that I manage the property. And some of the landlord, like I said, they don't want to interfere. So some of the properties I manage is always my name. So even if we are proceeding to the court, is me versus the tenant.
Okay.
Because the landlord does not want to interfere.
Okay.
And they don't want to even come to the court. So that's why before I manage your property, there's something we call letter of authority. So the landlord is giving me the power, to take care of his property, to get the rent, make sure everything is fine. So making sure everything is fine is that if the tenant refuses to pay for whatsoever reason, I can take them to court.
Okay.
And I will represent him. Because in the courts too, they will ask that, oh, are you the owner of the property? No. So why are you here? What's your local standard here? I was okay. I have a letter of authority that giving me the power to sue the tenant. So.
All right. Our time is fast spent, but we need to manage our time and see how we can quickly round off. Now let's go straight to. I know you're also based abroad, so let's look at life in Nigeria, both as life standard of living, lifestyle, and as a real estate surveyor. I'm looking at the balance, or combining, or looking at what happens in Nigeria and living abroad. How would you actually put in the balance?
Yeah, well, to be honest, living in Nigeria is quite cheaper. Yeah, living in Nigeria is quite cheaper. Yeah,
really?
Since the dispensation of this new administration, I know a lot of things has gone up to the roof, but even at that, it's still cheaper.
Even as a real estate surveyor?
Yeah, of course, life is still cheaper here compared to what we have over there. And Nigeria, we have freedom to do couple of things and you have time and all of that, but over there, majorly work.
What is the
work,
market
work,
like?
work. Yeah, the market is not doing badly anyway, but it's just that there's a lot of regulations compared to what we have here in Nigeria. So whatever you want to do over there, it has to go through the government.
And is it that good? Is the regulation not good?
Well, let me say it from the point of me being an estate surveyor and valuer and a businessman. So I'm going to answer that in that perspective.
Okay.
For me, it's not giving me free hand, in the sense that I can get a brief that, oh, I have this property, I want you to sell for me. If I do that, I have a professional fee that I'm going to charge. And sometimes I am lucky that I have the property directly from the owner and I'm getting the buyer directly. So which means I am charging professional fee from both sides. So that means I'm going to make a lot of money. Even if maybe I had to, extend it to maybe other people that, oh, I have this property for sale. Maybe some of them, they bring in buyer, which is not directly from me. Whatever the person is paying goes to them. But what the owner of the property, whatever is paying comes to me. So I still have the freedom to make a whole lot of money, because the percent I'm charging is based on what we sell that property for. But over there, it goes through the government, so you can't really make money as such. Mm-hmm. So that was why I said I'm going to answer it from the point of me being a businessman and an estate surveyor. So for me, it wouldn't make me, make so much money.
Okay, so that's around regulation. How about professionalism? How about transparency? How would you compare global standards with what we have?
Yeah, over there, I think Nigeria will, at least maybe in the nearest future, we're going to get there, but there are ways ahead of us. In fact, regards to rent, rent payment, they've been able to work it out that you don't owe rent. Mm. You just, at the end of the month, it is your responsibility, so there's no excuse whatsoever for that. But here, unfortunately, where we are, it's really difficult. Sometimes you even meet with difficult tenants before you get that rent, it's crazy. So, because of the regulations over there anyway, it makes it easier. But yeah, doing that management aspect is really difficult. So I know we have a lot of good tenants anyway. In fact, I have some tenants, even before their rent is due, they will call you, they will let you know, okay, I have the money, okay, let me just pay. And some of them, even if they look at the time and they see that, oh, I may not be able to raise this money, courtesy, they call, oh, this. So we too will communicate that to the landlord. Of course, he's expecting, so we'll need to let him know. Some tenants are that responsible, but some tenants, no, they don't care about that. When the rent is due, we do reminder notice and all of that. They won't tell you anything. When it's due now, you're expecting money. That is when they now start telling you stories and all of that. So, but over there, you don't have such. The regulation is that you just have to pay. Nobody needs to be writing you letter to remind you. In fact, there's something we call direct debit. In fact, the way they do it, the direct debit is on your account. Oh. So, like me, every first of the month, I pay the rent. So, if I'm there or I'm not there, it's linked to my account. So I must make sure my account is funded.
Oh,
on the first, before you wake. In fact, and they don't do it during the day. They always do it in the middle of the night. So before you wake in the money has left your account. And peradventure, if that money is not in your account, it's a whole lot. So the best thing for you to do is just make sure. And I think it's a culture anyway. Everybody knows. So nobody needs to remind you. So that is sorted. Everybody has seen it as culture. So you don't need to.
So then how exactly would you compare here and there, professionally and personally?
Yeah, professionally, I think in the nearest future, I know we're going to do things better and we're going to get things right. At least we're going to improve on what we've got. We're not doing badly, so to speak anyway, but there are still miles ahead of us professionally. Yeah, professionally. But personally, my own personal opinion, I still prefer to stay back here. But yes, there's a lot of freedom where, we can make our own money, you know, to fund the business and, you know, to make the business grow and all of that. But over there, it's being restricted one way or the other. I think what you can even do over there that you can even make some money is probably when you do Airbnb, you get an apartment. You might not even buy the apartment. You rent an apartment, you remodel it, then you now start doing it Airbnb. But even when you do it Airbnb, you have a lot of bills to pay. You pay for gas, you pay for lights, you pay for what's this other one called? There's this other one I've forgotten. So you have bills here and there, but it's still a bit okay. And when it comes to property management, yeah, there's a fee I charge, management fee. So I charge 8% on the rent that I'm charging. That's what I get. So over there too, what they do is they add extra money on the rent I'm paying.
Okay.
So whatever rent I pay is not everything that goes to the landlord. So they just add a particular percent. So that's what they get to run at the office. But yeah, we tend to make more money and we have the liberty to, you know, control the things the way we want. Yes, so that's just the beauty.
Okay, so let's go to where most listeners are always keen about. Why exactly should people invest in real estate? And what exactly should they be looking forward to before they make that decision?
Yeah, investing in real estate, in fact, is really a good thing. Yeah, for me, I'm a Christian, and even if we go back to the Bible, at a point in time, God asked Abraham that he should leave his father's house, and he should go to a land, his father's home, that he should go he should go to a land that he is going to show him. And at the end of the day, he showed him the place and he was settled there. So that shows to tell you that it is our right to own a portion of the earth. It is our right. So even in the Bible too, you have the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. Yeah, we know everything belongs to God. God created it. Yes, God created it, but he has handed over the administration to people. That's something we need to, you know, we really need to understand. God created the earth, but you don't expect God to be sharing land for you. He has handed over the administration, the management into the hands of human beings. So we are now the one that are now coming up with land laws, land use act to further help in the administration. So if people have now been able to do that, even when it is your right, now you need to apply because there's now a regulation. So you need to apply, and you are applying.
And then you have the government in the middle of all of this.
Yeah,
you need to put that balance.
Yeah, you have them. So, and sure, you after application, you still need to pay money for it. Yes, it is your right, but God has handed it over to, you know, people to manage it. So you need to pay money for it. So that is why, that is one of the reasons why, you know, that even from inception, God has even backed the, you know, the intention of you owning property. So, and investment too, you still invest because even if you want to go by way of definition, investment is denying yourself of immediate enjoyment just for a future benefit. Because we are young now, but at some point in time, you will be weak. You might not have the capacity, the energy to do some of the things you used to do when you're younger. So what are the things you are putting in place? Some of our parents, they did those mistakes. I'm not trying to criticize them. I'm not trying to fault them. But what we should know that if you know better, you will be able to do better. That is the way they see it, and that was the way they understood it. So they acted on the capacity of what they know. But now we are now looking at all the lacunas, all the loopholes. We are now trying to, you know, make it better. Look at the reason why we should invest for at least at some point we are going to retire. Back then, people they usually have their kids as their retirement plan, which is not supposed to be. They always believe, oh, whatever I have, I should just use it to train my kids. When in turn, when they grow, they will now start sending me upkeep money. No, it is not supposed to be. That is the way they understood it. I'm not faulting them, but for the virtue of the education we have been, opportune to have access to, we say that the best thing is you need to make plan for yourself. The kids, they've got their own life to live. They've got their own family to take care of. So me bring them to the world, it is my responsibility to take care of them to the stage where they can be independent. So at that point in time, I need to fall back on all the investment I have had over the years. So that is what is going to fund my lifestyle. So in fact, I even tell people that, see, this, if you really want to enjoy this life, it is at your retirement. When the kids, they are grown, they have their own families, you and the wife, their mom, you can travel all around the world if you've been able to do what you're supposed to do.
Right.
So all those investments will start, funding your lifestyle. And in fact, you even see that it's even happy. You will even be happy to live that end part of the life and rest peacefully at the end of the day.
All right, we need to round off. Now let's look at the real estate and national development and the economy. We know that real estate is way more than personal wealth, even more, just as you've said, it is a national asset also. So can you speak to the importance of real estate in driving economic growth and development?
Yeah, of course. Without real estate, there's no economy to even start with. Because even if we talk about real estate, in fact, thanks for that question. Even when we talk about real estate, it goes beyond just property. The infrastructures you see, the roads you see, they fall under real estate.
Right.
So real estate is
and infrastructure. By infrastructure, you mean roads, bridges, and all. Okay.
They fall under real estate. So
okay.
That's just a more comprehensive word. So there's no economical drive that you will see without infrastructures. So an economy cannot even survive without real estate, without infrastructure in place. And that is why you see, if there's any neighborhood that you are getting property for XYZ amount, at some point in time, when you have more infrastructural development in that place, the price goes up, the value goes up. So because that real estate is the bedrock of any economic activity. So we can't just downplay the role of real estate, because it actually helps to boost the economic value and the economic itself at large.
Okay. All right. Let's round off. But before we let you go, before we wrap up, I'd like you to speak directly to three set of people, and that's young professionals who are looking to enter into this field. That's one. And then secondly, to the government as a regulatory body, authority. Even I know that you are also part of the government. That's part of a union also. So I'd like you to speak to young professionals, speak to the government as the regulatory authority, and also speak to the general public, those who are interested in investing into real estate or even property business. In fact, let me make it four. The last person or the last group of people should be landlords or land or house owners or property owners that you could probably, that watching you right now and would say that I would like to get your services. So, and I want to, just like you've talked about those kind of people who they don't want to be, they're not interested in knowing who their tenants or occupants are. They just want to live the La Vida Loca kind of life, but they know that somebody is working. Yeah. Let them understand what exactly you are doing or you will be doing to help them follow the money and follow their property properly.
Okay. The first aspect is the younger ones. Anyway, I am still one of them. To be honest, I am still one of them. But at least I think why I still in that position, I'm still in a position to advise the younger ones anyway, even if I'm still one of the younger ones, because we've been through a couple of things, and so yes, I've paid my dues too, in all honesty. So I think I'm in a position where I can advise people coming behind. So it's just to stay focused, determined, and dedicated. It takes a whole lot in this our profession to get registered, to be certified. It takes a whole lot, and when you start working under a firm, depends on your vision anyway. There are some persons, even when they are registered, they still want to be under a firm, still working. They don't mind. I'm not criticizing them. That's what they want. So, but there are some of us that we know that whatever time we spend under a firm, we are just trying to gather experience. We've always known that we are still going to start our own stuff. Yeah, so it takes a lot of courage to, pull out of a firm and start your own, because it takes a whole lot. Where you're coming from, at the end of the month you get paid. But when you're starting your own, you now need to start looking at you paying people.
You paying.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So I used to joke with some of my friends that if you're working under someone, you're always happy when month end is approaching. You are happy because you know you're going to get paid. But if you own business, you are not happy when it's month end because you know the financial obligation. So it takes courage. It's not really easy to pull out and start your own. It really takes courage. I remember when I ventured it initially, it didn't work out. I had to apply for a job. I had to go back again.
So it's okay to go back again.
Yeah.
Fall
sure.
and then stand up,
Yeah.
rise and keep moving.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
So I had to go back again. But I spent 3 months. I'm still not convinced this is what I want. So it was that point because now I've tried being under FM, I've tried running my own business, and I've tried going back again. What do I really want? So I just made up my mind, whatever it takes, I want to stand up for myself and I want to do my own. So it was that second time we were able to do it and we got the result. So it's going to be challenging. It's not really easy, but you just need to stay focused. It is doable. Yeah,
Okay.
so you just need to be focused on that. So that's that. And
The government.
we look at the government. Yeah, the government, they have a huge role to play because like I said, that the earth is the Lord and the fullness there, but God has given it to people, which happens to be the government. So whatever regulation, direction, or policy they give to us, that is what we are going to work with. So there's a way they can still do the regulation, land laws, and all of that will make it easier than what we have now. Because there's a controversy. What we use now is the Land Use Act of 1976. There's a lot of loopholes, lacuna. In fact, if I want to start talking on that, is a whole episode on its own. That we have been looking on how to amend that, because the Land Use Act favors the tenant more than the landlord. So it's not even ensuring profitability.
I think we need to talk about that in our next episode.
Yeah, it's in fact, it's a canker one, that Land Use Act. So that is where I think the government can come in. Then, when you get, then if you want to apply for title documents on your properties too, we can make it better than what we have at this point in time. Then this issue of, I have a property and then all of a sudden they are revoking my property.
Or
Omonile,
they are coming to take
and all of that. Though that the entirety of the blame is not on the government. I think it's a 50-50. So, but I think we can still work together, just to make things easier for us. So I think that's where government needs to come. And lastly, on the government, pricing is really a challenge, because I've had costs to do renovations. That's under property management. Guys are already on site and it was raining season, so they already mixed the cement and all of that. After some time, rain started falling and the rain was really heavy. It washed away everything, so they could not work that. Yeah, it's quite understandable. It's unforeseen circumstance that's beyond my control. So now I need to get another cement. Do you know, the next day the price of the cement already increased? And this I'm talking, that is even before COVID. So that has always been the problem in this country. It has always inflation, price not being, price not being stable. It's really a problem for people doing business. So I had to go get cement. Now it's extra money for me. So to now explain to the landlord, because he has given money for if I explain to him, rain, they might try to say reasonably with me, I need more money. But now telling them to even give you more money, we're all human. So I think government needs to come in that aspect of pricing when it comes to building materials. Yeah, because everybody, they want to get Turkish ties, they want to get Turkish doors. We can work on our local people producing all these things.
Absolutely.
Fund them so that all those prices will be regulated, will be controlled, and we get them cheaper compared to importing Turkish ties, or I imported this from India. No, we can get all that. Yeah, so I think that's where government needs to come in. Then the third one is the
investors.
Okay,
or prospective investors.
Investors, yeah. In all fairness, I've had this argument a couple of times. Anyway, I won't say argument anyway, like a way of trying to enlighten ourselves with some of my colleagues that now we're even doing better in this dispensation in regards to investment compared to what it used to be. Because you can remember back then, before, probably in a community or in a neighborhood, before you can get 2 or 3 persons that will be able to afford a car, it's really not that, it's not that easy. Before you can afford people that can own property, it's not that easy. But now, you have even younger kids, you know, owning property, owning cars and all of that.
And that's good though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So that's the point where me and my colleagues will discuss on that, because they are saying, oh, the economy is getting worse, this. So when I bring that view of it, because see, there's never a time that people has come out in this country that the economy has been good. There's never a time. People always complain. In fact, far back, Abasha area, I remember then I was in Shagam, there was this war, I think Hausa and Yoruba. I could remember that was when they came up with Abasha stove. So Abasha stove, so is what everybody uses. But now, even when I was a student, I wasn't even using that. So not to talk of that, okay, I have a family you want to be using. So that was the kind of life they were living here. But we don't have that. So the thing has really improved. So we can't say the economy has not improved. So that is where we always talk about. So in regards to investment, so people have really done well now. People have been able to, understand, see the reason why you need to invest. But we can still do better. The husband is owning property, the wife is owning property, they're getting property for the kids moderately, not the ones that they will just be getting property all
and
over.
Abandoning them.
They don't even remember, they don't even, just because they wanted to hide the fake money they are taking all about,
Okay, yeah. I think you are trying to break some table.
Yeah, so let me just highlight on that, you see what I mean? So, but on the look of it, at least we are not doing badly. We have more investors. And in fact, I see young guys now, they're even looking into, though there are still some of them that are still struggling, but a lot of them. So, and I know we can still do better on that, because you can never go wrong when it comes to investment. So we just need to put money regards to invest, so that when you retire, that's just the essence. When you retire, you don't become a burden on your kids. For crying out loud, they have their own life to live. Let them enjoy themselves. You have an investment that is going to fund your life when you retire. You enjoy your life, and let the kids, as wealthy as Dangote is today, he can't be waiting for his kids to be sending him upkeep. Yes, it might be on his birthday, they can buy him a car. Not as if he cannot afford the car, but at least they were proud of the fact that, oh, now I have a child that can buy me a car. Not as if he cannot, afford it. So, but that's the joy of being a parent, because you've given to them. But not that you are now, having depend on them. No. So you need to look at it so that you fund your lifestyle before you rest in peace in the end.
Oops, this has actually been a very insightful conversation. Thank you, Mr. Sam. We have a whole lot to unpack.
Yeah.
Because our time is fast spent, but don't worry, we'll definitely keep having these conversations. Thank you so much for your time. All right, viewers, thank you so much for watching. It has been an enlightening and educating, informating time on this episode of Real Estate Conclave. And we have been talking to ESV, that's Estate Surveyor and Valuer Sam Adejumo, who is also the head of practice, Realty Corridor, Abuja, Nigeria. And it has been an amazing conversation today. And remember, we talked about quite a number of things, so it means that we, in subsequent episodes, will bring you other things that we'll talk about, especially why do you have so many vacant buildings here in Abuja? Are people living in them? Are they also making money out of it? We'll bring up that conversation, and again, we'll have so many things to unpack on this on the next episode of Real Estate Conclave. And that's more reason why you should stick around with us, because we have got you covered. Remember, just like our guest said today, one of the things I'm picking up from what he said is that real estate is not just about owning a property, but about building a legacy. Thank you for watching. My name is Annabelle Oji, and I have been the co-host for this episode. I'll see you again next time.